example, we have the first key motion that is coming up is the consideration of the report of the Public Investment Committee on the Social Service Administration and Agriculture, on the consideration of performance audit reports by the Auditor General on the provision of services to persons with disability. Now, this is a very important motion that is coming up because it is dealing with issues of persons with disability, and we need to realign and the laws that are there so that the people with disability are accorded the rights and privileges that they must have. It is a motion that is being sponsored by the National Council of Persons with Disabilities, and Parliament, we are keen to ensure that we have the right regulations and laws that protect people with disability. So that is one of the first things that we're going to deal with in this fourth session. So the people living with disabilities now must realize that Parliament is on their side. Secondly, one of the things that we have, when a bill comes into Parliament and National Assembly and Senate differ, then there has to be mediation. So one of the things that we're going to do, one key motion that is coming up is the Gambling Control Bill. It's a National Assembly bill, but we have now a mediated version that is coming up. So that's another, the gambling, there's been a lot of issues in gambling in this country, and therefore this is a bill that has emanated from the National Assembly. But when it went to Senate, because of the function of gambling is in the county government. And because of that, then we have a mediated version that is coming to the National Assembly. So that is one of priority businesses that we have. Then we have a reports on decentralized funds accounts committee that are bringing in their reports on National Government Constituency Development Fund, and it's for 6 counties for the 6 constituencies in Busia. So you see the reports that come in these days on National Government Constituency Development Fund, they come in counties. So it is one of the motions. So we're going to discuss the report of Teso South, Matayos, Nambale, Funyula, Teso North, and Butula constituencies. This is a report that will be tabled. And then also Parliament ratifies agreements between countries. And one of the key that is coming at in this report is a ratification of an agreement between the government of the Republic of Kenya and the Republic of Singapore, basically on the elimination of double taxation with respect to taxes on income and on the prevention of tax evasion and avoidance between the government of Kenya and Singapore. Okay. So that's one of the key motions. Then lastly is also a ratification of an agreement on the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement between the Republic of Kenya and the United Arab Emirates. I think we have seen a lot of collaboration between the United Arab Emirates and Kenya. But then this needs to be ratified through by Parliament. So this agreement is coming to Parliament for ratification. So that's some of the key areas. But we also have bills that are being given priority. So we have 2 bills first. There are 2 bills that were referred to the House by the President. You see, if we pass a law in this country, and that law goes for assent, and the President still has certain reservations on some of the clauses that have been passed, then he writes back to Parliament to say that he would like this change, would like this change, would like this change, so that it aligns to other laws that are already existing, or to align to the thought of the government. Okay. And therefore, there are 2 bills that were sent to the President: the Cancer Prevention and Control Amendment Bill, number 45 of the National Assembly, 2022. And the National Land Commission Amendment Bill of the National Assembly Bill number 43, which is actually my bill. Okay. Which is actually my bill. So I think the President, looking at it, and also collaboration with the Attorney General's office and other the Kenyan law reform, when they looked at it, probably they found that there are certain aspects. So these bills have been referred back through a memorandum from the President. Okay. Now, sometimes this bill, Marco, they are very interesting because you must gather 2/3 for you to reject the President's amendment. So if you don't gather 2/3, then the President's amendments sail through. Okay. They sail through. And I don't see us gathering 2/3 to oppose the President's reservations. And therefore, because of that, it's as good as passed. His amendments are as good as passed. So these 2 bills will come. They are priority bills. And then Apart from these two bills, there are certain bills that are awaiting consideration, and they're very important. The Virtual Asset Service Providers Bill, I think it has been on the cards for some time now, but we didn't get time to analyze them in the fourth session.
Okay, and briefly, if you can explain the Virtual Asset Service Providers. What does it mean?
The Virtual Asset Service Provider, you see, there are people like Facebook, there are people like Google, there are people like you know the people who
internet
operate. They just operate, but we need a law that anchors them within the Kenyan space, that it should be operating within this environment, and therefore we have this Virtual Asset Service Providers Bill, which is actually more of a universal law in the world, but we need to anchor it as a country, and that is why it is coming in the fourth session. And then we have the Disaster National Risk Management Bill, a very key bill that is coming up that requires a lot of amendment. We passed it in the 12th Parliament, this bill, but I think it requires certain amendments, and therefore those amendments will come this time. So this bill is actually sponsored by the Leader of Majority, and it's trying to provide a legal framework for the coordination of disaster on risk management activities at both county and the national government. Okay. Actually, that is what it is about. And then the House is also expected to consider amendments which were made by Senate. You know, the Senate looked at this bill, and you know, Senate has stakeholders because of the counties, and therefore they're trying to bring in certain changes that affect the counties, and therefore this is a very important amendment. You know, we suffer disaster a lot in this country, and when those disasters strike, what framework does a county government have to operate, to even appropriate funds, even within the shortest time, and all that? So this bill actually tries to do that, and these are amendments that are coming from the Senate. They are coming to the National Assembly. We will look at them. If we do not agree, we'll go for mediation. Okay. If we go to mediation, they fall. It falls. But I'm sure we will agree, because it's an important piece of legislation that is coming up. You know, the Equalization Fund has had hitches here and there. I hope and believe that this country...
There are some constituencies and counties that claim to be to deserve, and they don't.
Yes. Actually, what happened is, you know, there are only 13 counties that are supposed to be part of the Equalization Bill. But then Commission for Revenue Allocation empaneled more, you know, counties. Divided it. Now I think around 30-something counties are part of the Equalization Bill, which at a personal level I disagree. But at a government level, we need to push it that way, because it is law that was passed. So what CRA did was to come down to say that we look at locations, not counties.
Locations.
We look at locations in the nation that have been underfunded, they've been underserved, you know, and therefore they looked at all locations, mapped all locations, and then put money in every location. Okay. In my constituency, for example, I have one location called Uyombo, and it's been mapped as one of those that will benefit from Equalization Fund. But people, there are divergent voices in the House that are saying, no, it should not be like that. But what is most important about equalization, and which we must all agree, is the administration of that fund. That is where the problem is. I have an amendment myself, by the way. I am one of the proposers of the amendments on this one, at a personal level as MP for Kilifi North. This fund has not been very effective, because some of the money goes to the county government. Some of the money goes to ministries to implement. Now, ministries sometimes do not have money to do their other projects, so they take the Equalization Fund money to do other projects, and they do not do the Equalization Fund project, because there is no body that oversights the utilization of this money. Unlike NGCDF, where is the NGCDF board? So I have proposed myself in this amendment that we have an Equalization Fund board that follows up the implementation of these projects, whether by ministry or by county governments. You understand? But they have put the structure that is there is, you know, the county commissioner will now be the one chairing for both for the county and the national government. But if the money comes into the county kitty, and I am the governor of the county, I'll do whatever I want. I don't have to talk to the county commissioner, because I have absolute authority. But what we want to see, because this time, we have put the equalization fund in the budget for this financial year, but we have also put in the arrears for the many other years, I think amounting to around 13 billion. So there's a lot of money.
Okay.
But we want to see the projects transforming those areas that have been underfunded for many years. But we have not seen it because of the modus operandi, the way that it is being executed.
Okay.
It is being executed by many people. Like the county government, you say they are going to deal with a program in health, So if you give them the money, they will put it in their programs, and nobody will know that is an equalization fund project.
What were the factors that were considered to qualify a county for the equalization fund?
You see, the equalization fund is as a constitutional fund. It is there in the constitution.
Okay.
But initially, when it was being implemented, the functions, education, water, and I think roads, and there are four. Roads, I can't remember the other, the four functions in the constitution. So counties came and said, no, but roads are partly national government, partly
county.
Okay. When you talk about water, is actually purely county. So they went to court and they got an interpretation from the Supreme Court, and the judgment came and said, no, this money must be shared between national government and the county government. So that was the first thing that came out. Now, when it came to now, so who gets the money? Other people, and CRA itself, Commission for Revenue Allocation, said, you may think Nairobi does not deserve, but certain parts of Nairobi also deserve because they have been underfunded. So now, then they said, even in Kiambu, which is not part of the 13 counties, there are certain pockets in Kiambu that were underfunded.
Okay.
You get. So because of that, then, now people started saying, okay, this. Then they said, so who accounts for the money? They said National Treasury. So the money was actually domiciled at National Treasury. So when it was domiciled at National Treasury would not disburse the money, or they would not disburse the funds, because they would put it at the last thing, because they are under pressure to disbursement for NGCDF, for counties, for ministries, for all this. Then they say this: if we don't collect enough money, the fund that first suffers is the equalization fund, and that is where the problem started. Now we are saying put the money in ministries, but ministries have their own priorities. So this is a very important bill that needs to unlock this funding so that it is used. Then there are three bills that are very important. Three bills: the county allocation of revenue bill, which we must do, so that we allocate the funds for the next financial year for counties. And then the County Assembly Services Board. The County Assembly have County Assembly Services Boards, but there is no law. So we are putting the County Assembly Services Board, so that they can create the services boards and they are anchored properly in law. And then the County Assembly's pension scheme. Those are three other bills that affect counties. They're coming from the Senate. These we must discuss. And then another very important, because elections is about and IBC has been put in place, then the Elections Offences Amendment Bill, which is a Senate bill that is coming in, it's on election offences. So this is a very important bill that is coming up. Actually, it is from the NADCO report. So this bill will come, we will discuss it, so that, also this one came because of what happened in 2022. Elections, and therefore we have this that we must discuss. And then we have amendments in the Kenya Roads Board. We passed another amendment, and this is another amendment that we must pass. And then the Kenya Institute of Primate Research. There's a lot of primate research in this country that goes on, but there's no law that anchors it. And then there's the Institute of Social Work Professionals Bill. This has been on the cards since 2023. It's been there. I remember even me, I tried to push this bill, but somehow it got stuck on the way. And lastly, we have the Cabinet Secretary for Roads coming up tomorrow to come and answer several questions by members. So basically, that is our week. This is going to be a very busy session. But I want to ask members to make themselves available, because they're very important bills that we must consider in this session. And then we also have a host of other private members' bills. That I have like 5 bills myself that I'm bringing to private members, and many other members are bringing. And we have motions the Wednesday morning motions that are coming up. So it's going to be busy. And I ask all members to be available to debate and represent and oversight and legislate for their members.
Thank you very much, Mheshimiwa. Thank you so much. We appreciate your time. That has been the Deputy Majority Leader in the National Assembly, Honorable Owen Baya, who is also a Member of Parliament for Kilifi North. He has been highlighting for us the business ahead as the National Assembly resumes from a short recess. My name is Tilio Marco. Thank you for watching. Next week on Tuesday, we meet right here for another round of discussion like this one. Thank you so much.
Okay. Asante. Asante.
Well, that was the Deputy Leader of the Majority Party, also the member for Kilifi North constituency, Honorable Owen Baya, giving a brief on the business that is expected to be